who have served this great organization. Ms. Cassandra Jennings.
Good evening. Greetings and blessings to all of our corporate partners, our community leaders, people in the boardroom, out of the boardroom, those working in the forefront and the background, people in the trenches, people on the front line, and those who are quietly praying for us every day. It is a privilege and an honor to serve with you on our quest for justice, for equity, and for empowerment. We come here tonight even though our hearts are heavy and our community is really feeling a lot of pain from the shooting for Stephon Clark. We will recover from that. It won't be just a moment, which we all have to get through, but it will be a movement. And tonight, even in the forefront and in the background of that, we've come to celebrate. As the mayor said, we've been on this trail for 50 years, and we want to continue with the understanding that we all must continue to fight, we must stay the course, and prepare for a brighter future. The strength is in our story, and with that, I would like for you to share with you this video.
The 1960s was one of the most tumultuous periods in the history of our country. The assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, and the struggle for equality and civil rights were events that would later shape our future. The bittersweet fight for equal rights was especially dynamic. Both individuals and organizations crossed color lines and launched a multi-pronged approach in this struggle. Some marched or rode buses, others directly confronted discrimination, while some concentrated on trying to open the ballot boxes to all. The National Urban League had been in existence since the 1920s, but its mission would be dramatically changed given the social changes of the 60s. Sacramento was a microcosm of the national environment. The inevitable change in the way of life was well underway, and something had to be done. 16 local citizens formed a committee and petitioned the National Urban League for membership. One of these was William Lee.
You might say I've had a long affiliation with the Urban League. I was involved at the earlier stage of the planners, the visionaries, the people who essentially saw fit for the organization called the Urban League.
Marion Woods was also one of those who helped establish the foundation for what was yet to come.
And I talked with Bill Lee and Ollie Sims, Joe Cooper, maybe a couple other people, and we began to talk about what do you have to do to get an Urban League?
The charter was signed on March 27, 1968, and the Sacramento Urban League was born. Howard Harris was the first executive director.
And my job was to administer, develop a program, and to get United Way funding to establish the League's programs.
There was a lot of work to be done, and the Sacramento Urban League set upon the task of training individuals in the skills that would be required if they were to take advantage of the opportunities that would arise from the newfound freedoms. The first offices were opened at 3545 4th Avenue, and Sylvester Mabry was appointed as the second executive director. Many achievements were realized during Mr. Mabry's tenure. The organization placed additional emphasis on eliminating discrimination and segregation. It was also during this time that the Greater Sacramento Urban League moved into its first official headquarters at 3515 Broadway. In 1972, Dolores Bryant was appointed as executive director. The accomplishments were many during Miss Bryant's tenure. George Dean assumed the leadership of the Sacramento Urban League in 1979. The George Dean era saw many advancements in the organization. Most significant was his ability to build alliances with major local corporations such as IBM, Wells Fargo Bank, and Hewlett-Packard, just to name a few. In 1990, the organization made yet another move to the United Way building in Rancho Cordova. In 1991, Sam Cullors was appointed as interim president and CEO. James Shelby was appointed in 1992. 1992 also saw the name of the organization changed to the Greater Sacramento Urban League. This name better reflected the reach of the programs and services. In 1995, the UC Davis Medical Center provided 24,000 square feet of space to accommodate the League's Workforce Development Center. On Thursday, October 26th of 2000, the Greater Sacramento Urban League reached one of its most significant milestones. They held the grand opening of the new 28,000-foot Vic Fazio Workforce Development Center in Del Paso Heights. This beautiful state-of-the-art facility allowed the organization to expand its services in order to better serve a wider variety of community needs.
In 2009, David DeLuz was named president. James Shelby was appointed as interim president in 2013. In 2016, a new legacy was established, naming Cassandra H.B. Jennings as president and CEO of the Greater Sacramento Urban League.
The Greater Sacramento Urban League boasts a historic footprint, standing on the shoulders of legions of committed and passionate local presidents, board members, corporate and business partners, elected and community leaders, and coalitions. Then and now, each and every one represents the strength of our story. It has taken us 5 decades to get to this point. Amid advances and challenges, our story is still being written, and there is still a lot of work ahead of us. As we celebrate the past and the legacy of many, our focus must be on the future and how we collaborate, partner to implement and change the lives of people forever. Our new narrative will be around 3 pillars: educate, empower, and employ, with an emphasis on community economic development. It is this emphasis that will then lift up the voices of the youth, that will encourage and support civic engagement, that will develop housing and commerce, including supporting the community-owned assets, and that will reinvigorate our communities forever. It is through the emphasis of community economic development that we as leaders, as risk takers, and in partnership can change our communities forever and provide opportunities that will educate and employ and empower people forever. Thank you. So, as evident in the applause, you guys have taken this journey with us. I want to pause, and we talked a little bit about the medallions, and yes, our current board members have the medallions, but we have provided medallions, hopefully, to everyone that's in the room right now who's had a role in this journey. I know that we have 2 of the former CEOs, which you saw on the screen in the room, and as well as staff and board members from previous eras. I would like all of you to stand up, whether you have your medallion or not, one last time, so we can say thank you for all the work that you've done to take us on this journey. Please, everybody that has a medallion on, please stand. I see the 2 CEOs, I see board chairs, I see board members, I see staff. We honor you today. We thank you for bringing us to this point. Thank you. We will also be honoring all of our former board members, CEOs, and staff in an award ceremony that would be at our facility, our headquarters, in the fall. So please stay tuned, because we know how important it is on this journey that we all move forward together. Let me just say that this journey is still ongoing. As we mentioned, we still have a long way to go. I would just like to say that we are right on the trajectory because we're not going to give up. We're going to be intentional about the work that we do in this community, for our communities, and for underserved people. The Urban League right now is involved in a number of things. You heard the mayor talk about our recent opportunity to be the sole contractor trainer for 1,000 Strong Youth to get them prepared not only for work, but to keep a job and to build a career. Thank you. We are also working with a number of schools for pathways and career pathways so that we can prepare young people for the jobs of the future, as well as people within our community in our job center. Our education spread goes far. I'd just like to mention a couple of things about our partnership with the Campaign for College Opportunities, as well as with Twin Rivers and Highlands Charter School, to really get high school diplomas for people within our community so they can prepare to get better jobs. And then the empowerment, we are honored and privileged to join in with many of the leaders and many of you out there in the Build Black initiative. It's a movement, not a moment. We want to change the lives and build communities for Black people in this region, for underserved communities, so that we won't have tragedies, we won't have senseless things like we have now, and we all will be moving together. The strength is in you, and the strength is in our story. Thank you for being a part of that.